You see, something is going to happen. Something wonderful.
My God, it's full of stars.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the NY Patriot Show. Today, very special episode, very excited. I've got General Lee, the man, the myth, the legend with me today. What's up, General Lee? Say what's up to everybody.
Hello, mate.
What's
Stijn,
going
New
on?
York, Ash. It is a true honour.
Yeah, and we
back
did
on your show
finally,
again, mate.
and we did get you. Sorry, man.
Yeah, looking forward to this one, mate.
Yeah, and we did get we got Stijn back on with us, like we have the last. I think this is like pretty much the last 3 Wednesdays, maybe.
Yeah.
Or something close to that. And we did get instead of having him type constantly in chat, I said, fuck it. Just bring the man Ash on himself until he's done eating. His camera is off, just to be polite. But he can say what's up. Oh, there he is. So, Ash, if you want to say what's up, too, real quick.
Howdy, howdy, and hail. Keep the old gods alive, everybody.
There you go. So we got Stijn and Ash on live with me and Lee to school us about Norse mythology, because we're both very interested in it. And like I said, I don't know much, and you guys seem to know your shit. So here we are, and we may even have Teresa join us later. And I did also add a StreamYard link to Element. So if there's anybody listening now live and you're in the Element server, there's a StreamYard link. If you know stuff about Norse paganism, or you want to ask questions, you're more than welcome to click that link and jump in with us and ask us questions. So, and there will be a live call-in number I'll put up eventually too. So if anybody wants to call in, ask any questions, or add to it, you can go for it. If not, fuck it, whatever. We're still gonna have a good time. So I'm done talking. So yeah, actually, I'll go real quick. We'll go around. Lee, plug your stuff. Then after Lee, Stijn, if you want to plug your show, and then Ash, if there's, I know I have links of yours already, but if you want to tell people about your stuff, let's do all that first before we get going.
Nice one, mate. So I'm General Lee, host and creator of Subconscious Realms podcast. Instagram is at subcon_realms33. Twitter is at subconrealms33, and email subconsciousrealms@gmail.com. And I'm available on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Pod now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Right, and you, Stijn.
All right, yeah. StijnFawkes, Jarl of the Tribe of the Greyhorn Pagans, host of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. You can find the podcast on pretty much all the bigger platforms. And you can find the Greyhorn Pagans on Minds and Telegram. It's where we are most active. And I am on Minds, Telegram, and Twitter. You can find me pretty much everywhere under StijnFawkes.
Yo, I got. You know what you got to do, my man? You got to harass me the next few days and keep asking me, have you going on to Minds? You got to, because I know I made an account, but I really need to take a look at it, maybe check out some of the things. Like,
Yeah.
You know, maybe I should actually put a little effort into actually trying to do something on that app.
Yeah. Hey, Lee, you're on Minds as well. Like, you have an account there.
Oh, yes, actually. I did, but I've not been on there for a while, Stijn.
For ages. Like, I mean, I do keep tagging you because, you have an account, so why not?
Right, I'll jump back on them. I might have deleted the app, actually, for storage on my phone.
I think I did. I don't have it on this computer, but I might have it on my phone. But and not to forget, we got Ash, Child of Ash. The notes for all their links are already in the bottom if you're listening on YouTube or Facebook. But just for the fact of people hearing it if they're not watching it or whatever. So all these links that they're saying that they're giving out are already in there. But go ahead, Ash. Let everybody know about yours, too.
Norse pagan, part of the Greyhorn pagan tribe. I'm the Thane of the tribe. I keep a lot of my conversation in the tribe on Telegram. Most people can find me there. I also run my mouth on Twitter. I mean, I let it fly on Twitter. I put it all out there. I mean,
it's a shit show. It's supposed to be, right? Kind of.
Absolutely.
to me, it's just a play.
It's entertainment.
That's a stage. It's a stage. That's all it is. Twitter's just a stage.
entertainment, absolute entertainment.
Yep. Honestly, if you start looking at all, or for the most part, a lot of social media apps like that, if you kind of look at it like that, you'll have a lot more fun and enjoy them more and not take it so serious.
Yeah.
Absolutely. People that take that seriously got problems.
Oh, yeah. It's impossible to take it serious because you're going to get fucking pissed off constantly.
Oh, think about how many people you've seen take stupid shit literal on there, though.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there has to be a tenth of the people on there that buy that dumbass shit.
Yo, and then it's like, you're like, I hope those are the bots.
Yeah. In the back of your mind, you're hoping to God that's not a real person.
I'm like, I would much rather that be like a CIA propaganda artist than actually be a normal person believing this.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Like, with some comments made, you're just like, please, you cannot be this daft. You cannot be this stupid. Like, come on, man.
You wonder how they survived toddlerhood, dude, for real.
Oh. How Darwinism hasn't caught up to them yet.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think it's worrying how many bots there could potentially be.
Dude, I don't think the bots are the worst part of Twitter, honestly. I think it's the stupid people. I mean, I literally had somebody from California telling me that they couldn't wait until our governor, Ron DeSantis, went to jail because he purposely killed half the population with COVID-19. Like, they literally believe that Florida is the biggest graveyard in the world. Like,
yeah, people think that motherfuckers are in Gitmo. I'm just like,
oh yeah, that too. Oh, dude, speaking of, like, I've even seen articles lately. I don't know if you like keep up with like the fitness industry a bit, but you have got to heard about the Liver King. You know, the dude.
Oh yeah, I've heard about him. Yeah. Steroid fakes.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you know, he is primal. Like, he eats a lot of liver and like just like balls and raw eggs and like everything your basic like Neanderthal ancestors eat too. And apparently he is also taken to Gitmo and just fucking shot on the spot. Yeah. The liver, like the Liver King of all people.
So he was juicing on top of eating just straight up meat.
yeah.
And animal organs.
Dude, hell yeah, he's been exposed. Like, his cycle is like 10K a month worth.
Oh.
Yeah, but like he makes 100K easy of just his supplement line.
Yeah, I think he's probably getting ripped off because he makes good money. Because that's honestly, from my experience in the past with even selling that shit myself. Like I've mentioned on my own show, I've gone to federal prison for selling steroids. Someone's ripping him the fuck off, even if he's taking everything in the kitchen sink. If it's costing you $11,000 a month, you're getting fucking jerked around, my man. I hate to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how much HGH and steroids you want to stick in you, $11,000 a month, you're getting fucked.
Oh, but he just takes so much. Like, he has a whole fucking laundry list of stuff that he takes. It's insane. And the stupid part is, like, the whole primal thing, like, gonna tie it into the pagan community, just to get started. There is a lot of people who will say they're like on a primal diet or like follow that lifestyle in the pagan community. And the Liver King, for the longest time, he has been, well, pretty much hailed as a hero, because he does like the actual primal stuff, simulated hunting and all of that, and raw eggs, I guess everything that could be called far right now too. But yeah, he's been hailed as a hero, and it's just because a lot of the pagan community, like, it is about health as well, living like our ancestors did, which means just all the vegetables fresh, all the like a big part of the meat, especially organ meat, raw. So when he made his comeuppance, when he rose to fame, people in the pagan community, they were wild about him. Like there were speculations, of course, that, oh, he's definitely not natty. He has to be taking, such and such. And it's like, I mean, no, man, it's like the raw primal diet and just, working out hard and doing all the simulated hunting.
Yeah, but those guys look like barrel-chested power lifters. You see the Liver King, and I mean, I'm sorry, but that guy is obviously juicing. I mean,
yeah, just look at his abs.
Right. Yeah, but this what I was just going to say then, Stijn, his abs. He was on a podcast, and he's mentioned the abs being implants. Or something along those lines.
Wow.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But I mean, like decent implants. I believe they're like his implants. I know what you're talking about. I believe they were like fucking 10K a piece. Like just his implants.
Like that,
10,
so
10,
the dude's got an
15K.
artificial six-pack?
Yeah.
That too. I mean, a lot of it is probably real as well, because like you don't get a six-pack like that just from implants. Like usually implants look ugly, but he also has that.
Well, you also have to have the right fucking. You have to be so lean to even see him. I mean, honestly, we all have a six-pack. It's just our stomach fucking covers it. I mean, think about
that's
it.
the thing.
It's just
Not
fat.
only is that dude ridiculously low in body fat, dude, he's got to be running on like a constant cycle of dehydration also.
Yeah.
He has a six-pack when he's sat down, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Taking shit.
Every man's dream, like having a six-pack, even when you're sitting down. It's just. But yeah,
Fuck
like
that.
a lot of
Fabulous
people in
way I am.
hell yeah, man. No, but a lot of people in the pagan community, they are they're health nuts. Even going so far as the like tanning your balls and sunning your balls and all that. And I mean, there are
balls.
Yeah. Just go out in the sun, legs up, legs open, and just apparently it's good for testosterone and all of that.
Taters hanging out.
So roasting your
it's like-
chestnuts
that's like-
on the open fire
Yeah,
is good for the boys.
That's like the
apparently so.
that new Game of Thrones show.
House of the Dragon.
Yeah, House of Dragons. Did you see that? Did you watch that, Lee?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Wasn't there
mate.
one
Love it.
episode when like the I think it was the mother actually walked in on her son like standing on the balcony in the morning like fucking pulling on it, like as the sun was
Knocking
rising,
one
it was
off.
just like out on the balcony,
Knocking one
fucking
off to the
going
scene of the
down.
city.
Yeah, and she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Hey, it's
Hey,
all
that's-
natural.
He was expressing the reign for his kingdom.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, and he
Shocking.
said, "Make it rain." Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, I don't think when they said give seeds to the peasants, that's what they were talking about.
Aw.
It's one way of taking it,
He was just taking it literally.
Yeah, but that's like a whole subsection of like the pagan community, the like the raw primal and the sunning your taint, sunning your balls and all, because like it's all about like it's about health, of course, and but a lot of it is about testosterone and upping your testosterone levels.
Vitamin D is crucial for that.
Oh hell
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
dude!
that
Why do you
is
think I'm
actually
taking
no-
extra vitamin D? Because it's winter in Europe. It gets dark at like 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
And
fucking
it's
hell, yeah.
fine.
Mate,
Milk and
4 o'clock,
sunlight,
mate,
man. Raw milk and sunlight.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, like it's like 6:15 here, and it's fully dark already. So, you got to take something. You got to take something extra, and if it's in the form of supplements, I mean, so be it. I can go out in the sunshine, but there is very little sun to shine. It's all behind.
What percentage?
clouds.
I was going to ask you, what percentage of the year do you guys get like open sunshine?
In the spring and in the summer, in the fall, not a whole lot. We do get sunny breaks every now and then, But in the winter, so let's say from, well, it starts to get bad like at the around the end of October. Beginning of November, then, you know, sunshine, forget it, a couple hours a day, that's it. You know, if I do a like a late night shift, for example, I've done a couple recently where I'm working from like 11:30 in the afternoon till 5:30, 6:30 a.m. And like when I go, like when I step out the door, you know, with just, you know, the after talk, after chill, couple of beers, whatever, which is like, I'm gonna say like 6:30, 7 a.m. Like it's still kind of dark, and if I'm really early, it is still dark when I'm actually going outside and as I'm like walking to the train station, because the tram like takes too long to get there. I see the sun come up. So here in Europe, that's it's bad.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it is 20 past 5 p.m. and it is black as fuck outside.
Yeah,
black.
you're only an hour behind on me, of course.
Yeah.
See, it's noon where I'm at. Why, you're in the same, you're on the Eastern time zone, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York, so yeah, I was which, like I said before, for some funny reason, I don't know why, I just assumed that you were also in the UK as well. That's like, as soon as you jumped on and I heard you talk, I was like, fuck, this guy doesn't have an accent.
I was born and raised in Florida. I got a lot of family from New England, a lot of family from Massachusetts, a lot of family from upstate New York.
That's why I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, this guy's in the same fucking time zone as me.
Yeah, that always gets it gets a little confusing with all the time zones. Like I'm starting to really struggle with that, just because, you know, like the day flows over in night so quick, and just always having to calculate the time zones, and like, is it like daylight savings, or are we like on the regular time? Like, what is it? You know?
Confusing shit.
Yeah.
Like people have anxiety just over the freaking daylight savings time.
They do.
Yo, are they getting rid of that?
Yeah, I was gonna say they got rid of that on your side of the ocean, right?
Did they? I think they may.
No, we still do the time change, man.
I thought they were talking
We
about
still
getting
do
rid
the
of it.
spring forward and back. They talk about it all the time, and like how they're next year they're not going to do it, and this and that. I've heard that for like a decade though.
Oh, it'd be so good if we just got rid of that.
Yeah. Hey, Stijn, sorry to change the conversation. Did you get round to watching the new film on Netflix, Trolls?
Oh, no, not yet, not yet. I have I have watched the trailer, of course, and I have watched the the CinemaSins version, of course. But it looks like an epic movie. I really did love the first movie.
Troll Hunter.
Yeah. Troll Hunter. That was really a good one, and very true to the lore as well.
Well, they dropped some bombs in the new one, dude, and I don't want to like throw too much out there, but trolls hate Christianity and churches and all of that, and they add the lore in there that it's the church.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Thought that was a good one. I'm not sure how true to the lore that is. Like, I haven't done much research into trolls and whatever. You know, I mean, Josh and I are more kind of a giants and little people kind of guys. We've done a couple of shows on that. I mean, trolls, like, you know, if you talk about the Jotun, then, you know, trolls are going to come into that conversation as well, of course. But I love how I do like how they kept the like quite literally sniffing out a Christian in there, and that the one thing that they absolutely hate are church bells. I mean, it's I do. like myself, I do kind of try to get over the whole pagan v Christian thing, because I mean, yeah, they did some bad shit to our ancestors. You know, it's us pagans. We're not gonna forget that, nor should we. But I mean, we have a we have a common enemy, and like instead of fighting each other, I do believe we should just band together.
Agreed.
Like I know it's hard, and I know that from the Christian side, a lot of them still don't like pagans, because I mean, like, and the stupid thing is, like,
Well said.
why don't they like pagans? Well, because we're pagan and not Christian.
And here's the crazy thing in conversation, a lot of them will notice that most pagans, especially like Viking pagans, will have very classic conservative values. Marriage, white picket fence, family, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
Law and order.
kids. Yeah.
And everybody, all when you hear pagan, everybody thinks golden era Viking age.
Yeah.
800 to 1200 AD, rape, rob, and pillage. And I'm sorry, that was just a consequence of the Theodosian Code and the Theodosian Accords. They were a set of laws put into place in 327 AD, and it basically allowed anybody that was a Judeo-Christian to hunt or basically kill or convert pagans. Now, if they killed them, they got to keep their land as a reward. So it incentivized it. Using that, they wiped away tens of millions of pagans in Europe over a matter of a couple hundred years. And that wasn't the end of it. I mean, it's if you look at history, it's never really stopped. You know, it continued into Iceland when they ran into Iceland. Then they ran to Greenland and North America. It came over here. They had the witch hunts, the Salem trials. And you hear the Salem trials, you think it was an isolated incident. That was all over the U.S. They were ixnaying pagans everywhere. Tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people that lived outside of what they called cities or towns were automatically on a hit list. And basically, they got to keep, kill, convert, do the same thing. You know, they did the Native American Indians using the same principle. They're heathens. They're not civilized. They don't have our gods. Their culture doesn't look like ours. But they preach religious freedom or freedom of religious persecution, you know. But you look at the actions, and pagans are probably the most persecuted peoples on the planet.
I do like what Burdock said in the tribe, that, you know, that has, you know, it's been abused just so many times as well. You know, the witch hunts, like a lot of them were, you know, they were medicine women. They were like, I mean, you could see them as maybe like female druids. They were, you know, the medicine woman. They were the
Vulvas, farmers' wives.
Yeah, you know, and what Burdock said in the tribe, and I do like that, is like any rule, any law can be abused, and if it can be abused, it will be abused. You know, he gave the example of, oh, you know, she doesn't want to date me, she doesn't want to go out with me. You know what? You're a witch.
Well, Stijn, look at the meaning of pagan is just country folk, right? And you look at the witch hunts, and that's how they classified pagans back then. If you didn't live in the little town that you lived near, and you didn't go to the church in that town every Sunday and, you know, for every mass, then you were a pagan. You weren't a Christian. You weren't one of them. So you were otherized, you know, and you may just have been non-religious, period, and living out on your farm outside of town, and you were automatically a pagan.
Yes.
You know, it's a really, really covered up thing. And it's not so much that it was, I can't say covered up. It's just a story not told. You know, the research is out there. Anybody can look up what the Theodosian codes are, and the fact that they've never really ended. You know, they were actually ratified into law later on by Valentinian III. Just a couple years later, they were stamped into law. So it became a it became a common thing for over 1,500 years. You know, if people didn't fit your church group, they were outsiders.
Yeah. And we just got a question if I and Josh, you can definitely help me with that. The pagan origins of Christmas, and I think we should start in Scandinavia and then like work our way down, because the Romans they had like another form of that. I mean, the
Yule
Christmas
from Germania on. Yule was. It's been recorded as far back as 900 BC. So there's a lot of history there. It's not saying that it wasn't actually celebrated before that, because all it is the celebration of the seasonal cycle, watching the calendar year roll around and knowing when winter's going to happen.
Yeah, and especially if you if you had a good harvest, you know, you would have had a good Yule as well, because you have, you know, a lot to spare, and because, you know, the winter months here in Northern Europe, Lee can attest to that as well. You know, they are cold. It can get really cold here, like you know, drop to minus temperatures easy. So like everything extra that you had, whether it be extra grain or you had some extra beef or sheep or whatever left, it's like, that's another form of celebration. It's where you would just eat and drink and be merry, because like it's practical too. Hey, the live call-in's up. Nice.
Yule tide. The tide was when people came together. Yule tide, everybody went from their farm village to the major town or the Jarl's gathering hall for 12 days. And in that 12 days, they basically stayed. It turned into 12 days over time, but it started out with, they went into the mead hall, they burned the debt pole from the middle of the town as the Yule log. You know, all of their debts were kept on a pole in the middle of the town, so everybody's debts were known. They were settled up and scored by the fall.
You literally just, you know, carved a notch in there, and that's how in the Netherlands we get the expression kerfstok, which like literally comes from there. Like it's like a big stick or a big pole, and you like carve a notch in it each time you like you are in debt or you are owed something to, you know, someone. Can be anyone, can be your next door neighbor, can be the girl, can be the, you know, the thing, can be whoever. And yes, the Yule log, but you had to keep that burning for the entire 12 days. And Yule isn't like, just correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while. Like I have to literally refresh this every year because, you know, so much is happening. Like it did start at the winter solstice, right? Or does it? Because I have seen different accounts of that it does start on like the 24th of December, but goes on into January. Like it's back in the day. You'll hear people say from the 21st to the 23rd of December it starts, and then it ends in the beginning of January. It's 12 days at the end of December into the new year. It starts on the solstice. That's how I've always done it, though. You know, that's how I found it to be the most sensible, considering that they were following the seasonal charts using the stars and so forth. So when the solstice came and the sun hit that point where, you know, it starts coming up in a different area and starts heading back for longer days. Yeah, that was their point of celebration. We made it to here, you know, we've got a stockpile. We're going to get through the winter. Yeah, exactly. You know, and gather all in the, you know, in the big hall, indeed, in the meat hall. You know, first of all, you're having a merry time, and I mean, it's fucking cold outside, so nobody's happy. So if you can get meat, if you can get, you know, some extra meat, some extra bread, some extra whatever, you're gonna have a good time. And because the Yule log is burning with all the people there, I do imagine it also be the warmest place in all the village. like especially if you're like out on the farm, out in the country, it gets cold there. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, they had good isolation even back in those days, because I mean, yeah, of course, you know, it was still drafty and it was still cold, but it's not like, well, they put up a thatched roof and like a couple clay walls and like no insulation whatsoever. I mean, they were still
Guys, they built.
They were still
knew how to build.
humans. Yeah. Oh, that they did.
Knew how to build. They used moss and clay and earth as insulation. Their log houses were cut in such a way that the logs were interfitted and then mortared to each other. It's not just a stack of sticks out in the wood, you know.
No, exactly.
They had it, and it was built around a central hearth.
Yeah, it's like a bit like, I guess, their advanced civilization, so to speak, in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nobody else had it back then, really, did they?
Well, you can look back even further, man, and some of the very first signs of human civilization, what you would consider culture, music and carvings of idols, were actually found in caves in Germany. The Lion Man figurine was approximately 44,000 years old. And then there is a flute that is about this. There's a flute that's about the same age. They were both found in caves in central Germany.
Yeah, I mean, caves have always been a good spot to to live in and to like try and get through the winter, because like a cave or a cave system, like it's naturally isolated. Like nothing is gonna come through rock. I mean, you just like have to heat it up with a fire.
Once you get it warm, days.
Yeah. I mean,
that was the thing about too, coming together for the Yuletide. It was safer for people to be together during the winter. Now, the one disadvantage was if a sickness went through. But other than that, as long as everybody was mildly healthy and hygienic, then everything stayed kosher and they had a fine winter. But that was also a big thing with the Vikings, was sanitary standard. Because they were so isolated and they had such harsh conditions and it was impossible sometimes to get to a healer, they did a lot of their remedies themselves, and they understood. They were one of the first people.
This keeps happening with Josh. He keeps breaking up. It's so funny. Like about every podcast that him and I do, like we keep breaking up.
There we go.
We're back. We're there.
We're back.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always on your side. No, guess we're not back.
Keep running.
No, but the health aspect and all. That's why the Anglo-Saxons like really didn't like the Vikings, because they were bathed and they were well combed, and like all the Anglo-Saxon women, they were like, "You're looking a lot better, bah, dude. I'm gonna go with the big Viking."
Right.
I mean, can't blame them. If you have a couple of like unwashed, unshaven Anglo-Saxons, then a couple of cleaned and combed and shaved Vikings, like hell yeah.
And honestly, if you look at society, that was a standard. Like, people stopped looking for masculine men sometime around the 60s, 70s, 80s, and it started to downfall into the fourth turning. And you wind up with a generation of people that were not bred from the best and strongest of the stock, just the most financially capable, right?
Yeah.
And you wind up with entire generations of sissies. And bubble wrap and PC.
Yeah, no, that's a big thing. We went from a society, and Europe is one of the biggest examples, because we've always had a warrior culture here. With Germanics, with the Gauls, with the Nordics.
Vandals,
we had a tribal society. We had a society of warriors, and at the same time, religion and spirituality was a big thing as well, because the Jarl, for example, he wasn't just the leader of the tribe, he wasn't just the head of the village, like he was the religious leader as well. Church and state. church and state, that was one and the same. You had no separation, because the Jarl, the tribal leader, like he was from the gods. He was godlike. He it's not like as today is with a lot of the Abrahamic religions, that they speak for God, or God speaks through them. No, it's like you were considered.
To make that point more clear, Stijn, the Germanic tribes, if you read Tacitus's Germania, the Germanic tribes descended from the sons of Tyr, or Tuisco, right? Tiu. Yeah. And they're all the same god. His son Manus and his son Ingvaeus, and I can't remember the other one's name, were the three main tribal leaders, and then they branched off into other tribes, but all the tribal leaders were sons of the gods, demigods, if you will. Yeah. So the survivors of the Germanic peoples all came from 6 surviving gods and 2 humans. Yeah. So that's where, when he says that the Jarls came from the stock of the gods, that's where that originated. Yeah, and like slowly over time, indeed, money became more important, trade became more important. So we slowly but surely changed to a civilization. Oh, civilization, can't say we're really civilized, but we started using coin for commerce. Yeah, merchants were more important. Like, look at all the the richest people in these days. Let's say a Bezos, for example. He is like still considered the richest man in the world, or I believe maybe he's gone down a peg. Him and Elon are like neck and neck. Yeah, but like, what are they? They're merchants. They got rich by just selling stuff, and in Bezos's case, selling crap. But he facilitating the sale. They didn't. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, they just facilitated the sale. They didn't even have their own products. Now they have an entire line of Amazon shit on top of it. Yeah.
Stijn, the weaponry, like how you hear like the dwarfs creating like Thor's hammer. Yeah, would it generally be the dwarfs what created a lot of the weaponry?
For the gods, definitely, because the dwarves, they were just they were the best smiths. They could make the best weapons. They could make the most powerful weapons. And that's
belt, hammers, and spears. Yeah. They made Odin's spear Gungnir is my favorite one. The spear that never misses. Yeah. What's it eyeball your target. Gungnir.
Gungnir.
Gungnir. And that the spear, it was a homing missile, man. They made him a homing missile.
Yeah, and they made Thor's hammer. They did everything, like everything that
belt and armbands
of
is that
some
Mjolnir? Is that Mjolnir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. I have
Sif's golden hair.
Yeah, the golden hairs of Sif, the wife of Thor, which Loki, in a especially mischievous mood, Loki be Loki.
Shaved his wife's head.
Yeah, he cut off Sif's golden hair, which Thor wasn't too happy about. So he tried to break every damn bone in his body, and I have the text pulled up here because I actually wrote this out. I just keep forgetting to bring it up, and that's how Mjolnir and how Gungnir came to be, actually, because Loki pleaded with Thor, like, hey, you know, I was just, you know, I was being Loki, I was being mischievous, I was doing what I think is funny. Like, dude, don't break every damn bone in my body because you can't take a joke. I mean, you know, it's Loki. It's like, hey, you know, it was supposed to be funny. What's not funny about this? Your wife has beautiful golden hair. I shaved it off. Haha. I mean,
His sense of humor was barbed, very barbed.
Yeah. But that's so. Let's see. Loki pleaded with Thor to let him go down to Svartalfheim, which is the home of the dwarves. Dark elves, dwarves. I believe they are two different entities, but often confused with each other.
But Svartalfheim translates to black elf home. Zwarte elf. Yeah. It's easier to translate it back to Dutch because it's still a Germanic language. But you know, of course, the dwarves being, you know, master smiths and master craftsmen, they could definitely find a solution for this problem that Loki caused, even though he brought it on himself. So, you know, Thor was like, okay, you know, if you can indeed, you know, get the dwarves to make something that is like as beautiful or even more beautiful, fine. Then go down to Svartalfheim. But, you know, if you don't, I'm still going to break every bone in your body. Fair is fair. I mean, fair is fair, right? Fair is fair. Yeah.
And that's where the sons of the dwarf Ivaldi, they forged a new head of hair for Sif. Like, if only this could, you know, still be a thing. Like, just so many men would be ever thankful, ever grateful. Just, you know, go, because like male pattern baldness is a thing. I'm like, yeah. It's yeah. You know, like if you could go down to the dwarves and just ask them like, yo, could you make me some new hair? You would. Like I'm 31 years old. I'm already, you know, on the, you know, the crown. It's getting thinner. Yeah, Josh. Brag, why don't you?
Hey, no, mine's going back too, brother.
You gotta start embracing
I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. No, but, you know, so...
I don't know if that's a symptom of us keeping our hair pulled back for so long or what.
I mean, with me, it's not that bad, though. I mean, not here. Like, you know, give it a couple years. I am my father's son, and he has those as well. Unfortunately, it's in the family. It's in the family, so I'm not gonna be able to escape it. But yeah, the dwarves they made a new head of hair for Sif. You know, I mean everything for the ladies, and they also made like they made, this is where they made two other things. I think. That they made Mjolnir at another time. I don't know, but it was definitely made.
Thor's belt, Sif's golden hair, Gungnir,
and Skidblanir, the best of all ships, which always has a favorable wind and can be folded up and put into one's pocket. Now, how handy is that?
They also made that armband that drips 9 armbands every day or something.
Yeah. No, it was a ring. Draupnir. Dripper. From this ring, every 9th night fall 8 new golden rings of equal weight.
That's it.
Lee, do you have to go? Because I know you typed that in the chat. You want to say?
Yes, mate.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Unfortunately, yeah, I've got to go.
already.
It's it's
Been a pleasure.
fucking just getting warmed up as well.
Yeah,
Just getting warmed up as
unfortunately,
well.
you do have another show yourself, so it's not like...
Yeah, I do, mate. Yeah, apologies.
All right, yeah, and like I said, your links are on the bottom, but real quick, if you want to, just plug your stuff again.
Oh, thanks, mate. Nice one. Yeah, so Subconscious Realms available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple. Instagram is at subcon_realms33 and Twitter is at subconrealms33. Email subconsciousrealms@gmail.com. I hope to be speaking to you all again soon. I love you all.
Love you too, my man, and thank you for jumping
Love
on.
you too, Lee.
I
Nice
appreciate
one.
that.
Yeah. Speak to you soon. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
Be
Bye.
good, brother.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, mate. Bye. Bye.
Very good. All right, you guys.
No, but the dwarves, they are definitely master craftsmen. They let's see, a couple other things that they made. Oh, I still can't get over the boat, always favorable wind, and you can fold it up and put it in your pocket.
Stijn has brought something to my attention not too long ago, and I never really looked at it that way until he said something about it. That Loki is actually one of the central figures of the entire set of Eddas. When you look at it, just about everything that occurred in the Eddas was because of a consequence of something that Loki did. The wall around Asgard, the creation of Odin's eight-legged horse in that bet. You know, then in another time he fathers Fenrir. In another time he fathers the serpent.
Yeah, Sleipnir is that's
eight-legged horse.
It's one of the consequences of the story of building the wall, because he had to what turned out to be a giant. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. A giant trying to rip off the gods and get Freya's hand in marriage.
Isn't it weird how it's always giants building the walls and megaliths? In every story, it's always giants built. Notice that. Egypt, South America, everywhere you look, Sardinia, every one of those stories, it's giants building those constructions. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, the giant, he of course wanted Freya's hand in marriage for completing the wall. And I believe it was Loki who eventually convinced the gods that, let's let him do it. Like, there ain't no way that he's gonna get that wall built in time. Turns out he was getting a little closer for comfort than they thought he would. So that's indeed where Sleipnir comes from, because the giant had this big mighty stallion, pulling all the stones, and because the giant, on his own, even if he's a giant, the quarry was so far away, he could have never done it himself in time. So they had to find a way to. Well,
they agreed to let him use his horse.
Yeah, distracts. And that was their Sleipnir. Yes. And that was their downfall, because they were like, you sure, use your horse. Use your stallion. That's fine. You're not going to get the wall finished in time anyway. It's a big wall.
Swathilfare was the name of it. That was the workhorse of the giant, Swathilfare.
And it's gonna go all around Asgard, around the realm.
Eight-legged one again?
No, that's Sleipnir.
It's his son. Swathilfare was the horse of the giant that was building the wall that they had a bet with, and if he completed the bet and won, he got Freya. And if he lost, then basically he built the wall for free, right?
Yes.
And Loki facilitated it. Well, what Loki did to distract the giant in order to stop him was turned himself into a female horse in heat and seduced the dude's horse.
Just lured him into the bushes and was like,
off in the corner.
Shot.
and Odin's eight-legged horse is the consequence of that. Now, there's other stories Loki is the father of Fenrir the wolf, and he is also the father of the serpent that's eating its tail. Jormungandr. So all of the bringers of Ragnarok were actually created by Loki.
And even Hela, the queen of the underworld, the goddess of the underworld, is Loki's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure.
Which, by the way, the Marvel universe butchered their family line. That's all I'm going to say.
By God, they did. But that's another thing. The whole pop culture paganism. Like you can get mad about it. You can, scream from the top of your lungs like, "This is not how it's supposed to be." I mean, dude, like honestly,
it's chaos and order. It's not good and evil. It's chaos and order.
Yeah,
Loki is an agent of chaos. The Aesir are the keepers of order.
Yeah, I mean, Loki is. Like he is technically part of the Aesir, but he is he's so different from all the rest of the gods that you could consider him to be separate because as you said, he's an agent of chaos. Like he's not evil. Well, born of a Jotun, but then again, so is Odin.
Did I mention something to you about the zodiacs and the 12 and the 8 legs or something like that? I can't remember. I don't know.
The 8-spoked wheel.
Yeah. I had.
Look at the Elder Futhark. 8 letters in sets of 3. There's 24 letters in the alphabet, and it was 8 sets of 3 broken into 3 what they called Ayet. So
that's interesting because I had a kid on with gematria. And I can't remember if I had him on prior to you. Contemporary Problems, TJ. I don't know if you know who he is. I don't know. I can't remember who came on first. I do know to him, I think I mentioned it. He took the Vesica Pisces and put the Zodiac's wheel in there. And in that one area of the Vesica Pisces, there's 4 of each circle. So there is only 8 Zodiacs technically falling into that Vesica Pisces shape. And that's where I was like, oh, fuck, does that have something to do with that 8-legged horse? So I can't remember if I said it to him that you mentioned an 8-legged horse or if I had told you already about the Vesica Pisces. I can't remember which one came first.
You told me that last week.
Oh, okay. All right, I can't remember.
That was actually last week. Like it's been a couple weeks in a row now. But yeah, the Vesica Pisces, speaking of that, that's also a symbol that comes back in Norse mythology. It has to do with with how the world got started. Basically, Muspelheim and Niflheim came the realm of eternal fire and eternal ice came together in the eternal void, Ginnungagap, and which. You could see as the Vesica Pisces, they came together from their steam arose. So like
that's interesting. That would be
the
like
middle pillar, like left and right, ancient fire,
like
ancient ice coming together.
Even the gods of the Norse pantheon are 2 groups. It's the Aesir and the Vanir, and the Aesir are celestial, and the Vanir are of the earth.
Yeah.
So you have the sky gods and the earth gods, and they had their little conflict. But see, now the conflict between the Aesir and Vanir is questionable because it is only mentioned in the Eddas and none of the elder texts, no older rune carvings or rune stones found anywhere with it. It's something that is strictly in a brief reference in the Eddas. And people have drawn a lot out of the war between the Aesir and the Vanir because of a couple little stanzas that are literally like a sentence long each. But I don't know if there was actually a large conflict like that. And there's no real significant proof of it. And anytime gods have battled other than that, like Ragnarok, it shows. You know what I mean? So if the 2 groups of gods from the earth and the sky were to come together and have a battle, there would be heavy evidence of that shit.
Yeah, like still to this day, you would see remnants of it. It's just in the mysteries and the mythologies. And I very much doubt, because don't know any other like mythological tales of, you know, sky and earth fighting against each other. Like it was always like either light versus dark, or like mankind versus the elements, or
Well, maybe
you know,
the angels.
gods.
I could see maybe the battle of the angels is close to that. But it's a
Have
little
you ever
different, I
looked
think.
at the history of the Assyrians
Or no,
and tell me that? All right, the basically a northern Iraq, Iran area, ancient culture that goes way back to the Phoenicians and beyond, right? And they have ruthless tales about the Assyrians and their raid and all of this other stuff. But you don't know how much of it's just negative propaganda. But one thing is known: the Phoenicians were big people. They weren't normal sized humans. In every tale, there's some telling of these giant Phoenicians in battle. And it carried on later, even into the stories of Samson and whatnot. But you look at the Assyrians and think Assyria, Assyr, the gods of the north, right? Is there some kind of connection there? Because even in their own language, it's Ashur or Asher, which Ash is the first human created by Odin.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, linguistically, there's a lot of linkage there.
Crafted out of an ash tree, ash and elm, crafted out of an ash tree and an elm tree.
Yes, and I just think that there's a root to the tales of the Assyr, the northern gods, and the people that became the Assyrians.
I mean, that would give a lot of credibility to the like the east to west theory, that it wasn't from the
Aryan.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, as we love to talk about, you know, shit like Atlantis and all of that, you know, there is still a big underwater ridge to be found in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And you know, when the sea levels were lower, or you know, all the cataclysms hadn't happened yet, that was definitely above water. And if it collapses, whether that be, you know, because of an angry god, or you know, because of punishment, or just like a natural flood, natural deluge, they had to go somewhere, and some would have gone east, and some would have gone west, some would have gone to the Americas, some would have gone to Europe. And if you go by that tale, then the east to west would make a lot more sense, and maybe that is why you had the Aesir first here in Europe, in Northern Europe, which eventually like became the Roman pantheon, the Greek pantheon, because they are a lot alike, if not the same, you know, but like kind of altered throughout history, changed throughout history, adapted to, you know, the lands there. And like from the Mediterranean, like through Turkey, you're getting into Syria. Through Syria, you know, you can go to Iraq, Iran, and whatever. Like Turkey pretty much is the border between like Europe and Asia Minor, or the Middle East, if you will. And we know the Romans went far. We know the Norsemen went incredibly far. Like there have been remnants found on the Syrian border, or like even in Israel, there have been remnants found of the Northern Europeans, of the Vikings,
America,
if you will.
North America.
Yeah, that too. I mean, the Europeans.
The X Factor team. Look at the Native American Indians and the new finds they're making with the X Factor gene, what they call the X gene. There is a Northern European gene pool that's been over here in North America for millennia. So, some point thousands of years ago, some of the European Basque peoples migrated from the Spain, France area over to North America and were living among the indigenous as their tribal leaders and giants. So there's a lot of new things popping up archaeologically showing that the Norse and the northern peoples traveled further than we ever anticipated.
Well, even going by some religions or even spiritual beliefs, if you take in everything in that they believe, you would have people just coming over here hundreds of years before Columbus did. They even, I mean, the Mormons think that. They think that they're descendants from people who left, forgot the area, and came over here before Columbus. So, I mean, even going by what they believe, we were here, way earlier than...
I mean, the Vikings were there hundreds of years before Columbus. I think Columbus was the first one who actually got, some good finances and was told, hey, map it. Whatever you find, map it.
Mm-hmm. It was on Leif Erikson's maps. It was on the Perry Reese map. So, I mean, the Americas were found long before anybody planted a flag in it and said, this is our land, But
they were all, what you could call like independent explorers. And Columbus was in, there was an assignment from, I believe, like the Queen of Portugal, even like with the Vatican behind it and all. So, you would hear a lot more about that. Of course, if he was told and funded by royalty and the religious leaders instead of just, a band of, Normans, who, as Josh said at the beginning already, they just, rape, plunder and burn all the cities and towns to the ground. You wouldn't hear about that. I mean, as Europeans, we're put in a bad daylight as is. You can't be white anymore. You can't be Caucasian anymore. That's a no-go. Yeah. And where are you gonna find more Caucasians than in Northern Europe?
I just picture Bobby Boucher. My mama said the white people's the devil.
White and blue eyes. Oh man, you're screwed.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that's right? That's the thing too. We've always been big. We've always been tall. That we are the warriors. Look at the old Germanic people. They were big, broad, blonde hair, blue eyes. So, with the indigenous people, even just the regular Germanics would have been seen as these giant people. I mean, still, us Dutchies, we are on average the tallest in the world at a 6 foot average for the man. And then there are people who are so gonna say, but what about the Maasai? Yeah, they are one tribe in Africa. That doesn't count.
Audio. I'm gonna jump out and back in.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's cool, man. The Maasai, they are just one tribe in Africa, and yes, they are tall too. They are freakishly tall. I believe on average they are 1 meter is 90 centimeters. That's what is it, 6'4"? That's the average. Yeah, but that's one tribe in Africa. If we're gonna take just nations, locations, Europe, Eurasia, whatever, then us Dutchies, us Germanics, we are still the tallest on average. So for everyone else, we would have been giants. We would have been big. We would have been broad and kind of scary looking. Yeah, if you're your average 5'5" dude and just this big 6 foot, 3 foot wide, blonde hair, blue-eyed Germanic dude comes walking up to you, you're like, okay, I guess I'll try and be your friend because you look like you can knock my head off with one blow.
Oh man, yeah. You don't want to.
Yeah,
like Shaquille O'Neal walking up to somebody. That size.
Yeah, but the story of giants, however you want to take it, the story of the Europeans of Atlantis, whatever we have been taught in school, either it's just like not true, or it's partially true, because like I am a big proponent, and I do believe in the west to east theory. Like the out of Africa theory has been debunked just so many times, and I mean there are still people who believe it, but it's like that can't be. Like Africans can't turn into Europeans. You know, the whole like our bone structure is different, and you know, like you don't just go from like black to white because there is, you know, a lot less sunshine. That's it's not a thing, and your bone structure doesn't change that dramatically because the environment is different. I mean, yes, Africa, I mean, it's probably one cradle of civilization, but you know, as Josh already mentioned, like the oldest, a couple of the oldest figures and cave paintings and you know, musical instruments were found in what we now know as Germany. And just with the size of Germany, like it is one of the like, not counting Russia because that's like pretty much an empire in of itself. Germany is one of the biggest countries in Europe, and for us Europeans, for the history of Europe has really been such a defining place, because like so much has happened there, and like even in you know, more recent history, a lot
It's really affected
has
the structure
happened.
of everything over there, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah,
Really
no,
has a
it
big-
really.
If Germany didn't exist, there's so many different. The world would be a totally different place.
Oh yeah, like
totally different.
even just going back, like, you know, 80 years to the Second World War, if, you know, America or the, you know, the Allied forces, so much for allies, welcome back, bro. If they had succeeded in like totally destroying Germany, or like fully subjugating it to America and the Western Allied forces, Europe would not be what it is today, because like Germany, just the economy is huge. Like just think of German steel. Like how much is made of German steel? Like I used to be a professional chef for close to 11 years. For my work knives, for my kitchen knives, I prefer German steel because it's sharp, it's hard, and it's easy to work with.
That's interesting.
A lot of the tools are steel from Germany.
Yeah.
I was a diesel mechanic for a long time, and there's a lot of wrenches that we would get, and they're made in Germany or made in the U.S. from German steel.
I think I've even noticed. I can't remember what brand it is. Maybe it's like Harry's or whatever. But I think there's even like a shaver that prides themselves on having like German steel blades or some shit. You know, so that is interesting.
Very likely.
Yeah. So just imagine like how, you know, like I said, what a defining place, what a defining country Germany or Germania has been for Europe, like throughout the world's history.
I mean, the name of their country literally means screaming in rage.
Yeah.
Really?
Which is very...
So I mean, they are the original rebels.
And very Odinic. Odin was, you know, he was the god of the wild. He was the god of the wild hunt. He was the raging god.
Now, do you know anything about like? Because I have seen like videos, you know, back during you know, the Nazi time, where you know you will see like they're like literally doing stuff out in the streets, like parading around, you know, fucking pagan gods and statues and stuff, and you know, making swastikas choreographed with torches and shit. Do you know like what type of like, were any of those like stuff that you understand, or
they appropriated all of it?
Yeah. Like what kind of stuff? Like, is there anything you could add to that? Like, what things did they?
The swastika in itself. Look at I mean, then you look at the SS bolts. You know, there's
runes.
2 Scoilo runes. You know, they basically just appropriated all their warrior ideation in the culture from the Germanic history, from the Odinist history of the country,
which is very nationalistic, of course. Germania, it has such a huge warrior history, such a huge warrior culture. So if you're gonna take over Germany, and like you want to do it in the most nationalistic way possible, you're gonna go to that warrior culture. You're gonna go to the the old Germanics and their beliefs. And I mean, like that's the one thing that I'll give the guy with the funny mustache. He made paganism great again as well, and I think a big
in
part
the worst possible way. But yes,
in the end,
what he did, he brought it out of the darkness. I mean, he just shined a giant light on paganism, whereas it had almost been forgotten.
Yeah, exactly. And like this is, as you all can hear, I don't shy away from controversial ideas. Like I don't fucking care what anybody thinks. But
it took us almost 80 years to disinfect it, though, Stijn. I'm just saying.
Oh, dude,
anybody heard paganism
it
for the last 80 years, and they were like,
yeah, oh yeah, dude. But like the 6 million, they're still pissed. But Josh, and like this is especially a question for you as a fellow pagan. Do you think that the pagan revival would have been so strong and took such a upward trajectory if he hadn't brought it back, or would it still be just the people out in the country in those small groups and solo practitioners here and there?
It would have been buried. What he did, he also had a mission to revive paganism, to revive the what they call, everybody referred to as the occult ways. Back in World War II, that's all everybody said was the occult, the occult, the occult. But essentially, it was Norse paganism or Germanic paganism. He wanted to reunite all of the tribes of Germania, the territories from northern Italy all the way up into Scandinavia, from the Lombards to the Visigoths to the Vandals. He wanted to put all of it back together. He did it in the worst possible fucking way. But I think he had a detour along the line when his doctors started giving him that combination of amphetamine and opiate and all that other shit.
Yeah, that'll fuck up your brain.
Yeah, he went from let's build Germany back into Germania to fuck this, we're eradicating a whole race. So I mean,
yeah, and let's take over the world and rebuild the the Roman Empire. If you look at the Roman Empire at at their absolute peak, at their absolute height, and how much he managed to get under control. I'm not going to say conquered. He didn't conquer it. He got it under control. A lot of the same territories.
They kept in the last 3 or 4 years, they kept him at a borderline testosterone poisoning level. They were basically hitting him so hard with testosterone, methamphetamine, and opiates at one time. They would give him this cocktail before he went out and spoke. And it put this energy in him that a lot of people gravitated to. And it also melted his fucking mind. So,
that much is obvious. If you I'm just saying, we have all only been told the bad shit about him, and there has been a lot of bad shit. I mean,
history was told by the victors. We know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've got to read between the lines. There were parts in the beginning of his career that he wasn't a horrible person, but then all of a sudden he made a hard left-hand turn. And when it did, it put this negative light on all kinds of paganism. Basically, everything non-Christian just became called occult. And it was referenced to World War II, and it had this stain on it that it took us almost 100 years to disinfect. You know what I mean?
The
So-
runes are still looked down upon. You know, he also used especially in the SS, which indeed is just, you know, their logo. There are 2 runes, which isn't a bad thing. You know, yeah, they're like normal writing and can be used for magic as well, like spelling. Like, come on,
2 lightning bolts.
Called that for a reason.
Yes.
That
Spelling
that
with
too.
runes. Now that's another thing. Spelling with runes. All right. Casting spells. Naming something. Right. That's a part of paganism that is also long forgotten. You know, we have the term spelling still to this day for putting words together using an alphabet, right? That's still called spelling, but that started in Germania. You know what I mean? That was a runic thing, and it is still done to this very day, just with a different alphabet, with all the meaning behind it lost.
Yeah, but you know, the runic magic and the runic spelling, like it is also making a comeback. I actually sent a email today to someone who I want on our show, who has done like a lot of videos and a lot of content about the runes. Raven Wolfgar. He is very much into tarot and does a daily reading, and is it on Wednesdays that he does that, the rune casting?
I believe so. I've seen him do it on a couple different days, but I think he's trying to get back on his normal schedule, because I think he was off.
Yeah, because, you know, a whole lot of tech problems
Raven
and all of that.
Raven is who I consult when I have a hard time reading, because I've always, for the longest time, I knew what the runes were and I understood what they were, but I never really held the set, did any real research into the meaning or divination of them. And it wasn't too long ago that I actually started looking into all that and doing a little bit of reading myself. And I can say I found a lot of accuracy in it, right?
Yeah.
But it's a very precise thing, but not precise at the same time, if you know what I mean. Like, it can be very precise about things that are happening in your life without being dead ass specific about certain details. You know what I mean? Basically, when I've never read for somebody else other than myself, so I've never been able to, you know, associate, am I reading into this what I want to because I'm relating it to what's going on around me? You know what I mean? Because like, I've always gotten my readings from myself. I've never gone to anyone else for one. So I also have no reference point as, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I did, like me and Firefay are through my right hand in the tribe. We did get personal readings from Raven, like, of course, with a specific question or specific topic in mind, and they were very accurate. Like, he definitely knows what he's doing. He knows how to read it. Rachel does as well, by the way, but she's more of the feminine, of course.
Very much.
So and that's also one of the big reasons why Firefay is gravitating so much towards Rachel, because, you know, she does more of the feminine. Firefay, you know.
People hear Great Horn Pagans too, and they assume just because Stijn and I are both Norse Germanic that's what the Pagans is, and it's not, dude. It's a vast group of Indo-European peoples and even some American Indians. Yeah. So I mean, we've got Celts, we have Vedic, we have every type of follower you could think of in the pagan tribe. Basically, just even some, I was gonna say non-Christians, but we do have Christians also, so that we've had in-depth conversations with.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like a good friend of mine, and someone who I who I met at the dojo and now like go to the gym with like 3 days a week at least. You know, he's a little younger than I am. He's more my sister's age, so early 20s. I have a lot of good conversations with him about philosophy, about religion, but I mean, he's a Catholic and he's Catholic AF, you know, I mean, like he'll show up late in the dojo because the church service went long. Like
our tribe is a community that agrees to disagree.
That's good.
Basically,
That's good,
you know, I mean, we all have different beliefs, but we have common community goals. You know what I mean? Every man should be free. Everybody should have a little place to you know, grow some food and raise their kids and be at peace. You know what I mean? Not be persecuted, not be shamed because of your religion. And I think we all have that same belief at heart, but have the common understanding that we are not all of the same religious belief. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, I have a question if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
I just have been making them wait, and I just wanted to jump in. It's actually, I think it's a very good question, but it might be, it might throw you guys off. Where is it? Something about paganism and Wicca. I have my answer. Helen was asking, how close is paganism to Wiccan? I actually think it's a very good question, but I think it's kind of a tricky one to answer from my opinion. But I was wondering.
It is a very tricky question to answer.
Actually, I'll go first. In my opinion, where you can find Wicca associated with paganism, my opinion, Wicca is a form of magic that will use paganism to get its magical results. You know what I'm saying? A pagan will make connections to paganism or pagan ideas to create the formula for your magic, basically. Because you can kind of get into a bunch of different things in Wicca. They do kind of suggest certain gods, but I do feel like it's just it's a little bit more open. And I'll put it this way: Wiccan was started by somebody who was trained by Aleister Crowley. Gerald Gardner was a student of Aleister Crowley's. So, in my opinion, it's Thelema Light.
Like Wicca, Wicca is very, it's very eclectic. Indeed,
that's the Thelemic aspect to it. Very eclectic.
It takes a lot from paganism, indeed, but also does a lot with Greek, Roman, Egyptian. It
adds pagan and neo-pagan concepts together.
Yeah,
you have, because there's a lot of it's essentially the Germanic runic alphabet instead of a Roman alphabet, but they do have a lot of the neo-pagan Roman gods and goddesses. So there's
in case
with
somebody
Aphrodite. We'll work a lot with Hecate. Very much goddess based as well. Very feminine.
Vulva.
Just real quick for people.
Yeah, vulva is a little different. I mean, it's feminine too, but that's like true Norse Germanic. It's really connected with Freya. Of course. Sorry, we're going off here. You were saying,
what is? Could you just explain to people your opinion of what neo-pagan or neo in front of that stuff actually means?
It's basically the romanicized or Greek pagans carried forth as opposed to the Germanic pagans. That's what I understand it to mean anyways.
To me, it was kind of like a new flair on an older idea.
Yeah, no, that too. Like it's a modern twist, if you will, but at the same time will take a lot of liberty with some things. Because like actual Germanic paganism, I mean, there is really in 2022, we're not gonna be practicing the same paganism as our ancestors did, 1,000 years ago or whatever. That's just.
But I think we should get as close as we can.
Yeah, of course, and that's still a big question in the pagan community. Like, how can we practice, the paganism of our ancestors, but in these modern days? And I think that's why
I have a very, very eloquent and short answer for that very question.
Okay.
By simply celebrating the yearly calendar and doing a little bit of responsible farming of your own food. You know what I mean? Even if it's having a couple chickens in your backyard in a neighborhood, or growing a couple bell peppers in your apartment window. You know what I mean? Just growing something that you eat and recognizing the yearly cycle that our ancestors followed and why.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people who aren't even into paganism that already do that because of other reasons. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's not even a bad thing to suggest.
It's very traditional, and you know, traditionalism and conservative, and you know,
in the
whatever
last 2
kind
years,
of.
I've seen a lot of people start doing that now because there's certain shit going on. People starting to even lose trust with the fuck's in the food we're eating. You know what I'm saying?
Because
so I even
works.
know people starting to grow their own shit, getting a few chickens. I've known a lot.
One of the causes of the fourth turning, you know, it's not just the attitudes that everybody has, it's the attitudes on top of the diet, right? One thing that science has understood for years is that like 80 to 90% of your neural receptors are in your gut, right? That term gut feeling comes from somewhere, gut instinct, you know what I mean? Some of your thinking is actually done in your gut. Okay. Instinctually, your thinking is done in your gut. When you are smelling and responding to pheromones in the air over hunger, you know what I mean? Essentially, it sets a whole system of your gut to going from stem to stern. You know what I mean? And that gives you hunger. It's the little instinctive things that your body runs on. You know what I mean? And even as much as reading people, you know what I mean? Sensing their hormones, watching their body language, and getting a gut feeling. You know what I mean? There's a deep root to that, and science has known that for years. And the minute they built the food pyramid for profit rather than health, they skewed humanity. Right? I think that was the industrial revolution with food was the downfall right there, dude. Because it literally affected the behavior and mentality of everybody.
And even breakfast was pushed as something to just a commercial thing.
Orange juice, dude. Just look at orange juice. We have all these oranges rotting. People aren't buying them. What do? Juice them and freeze it. They can still get the vitamin C, yeah, but then there's none of the natural fiber and everything else that's good with the orange. You know what I mean?
You know who owns the most orange property fields in Florida?
Let's say probably Bill Gates or somebody.
No, the Mormons. They actually own a fifth of the United States property. They're the fifth biggest private company to own property in the United States. So motherfuckers need to stop sleeping on them. I know I bring it up a lot, but go watch Handmaid's Tale.
Let me ask you this, New York. I got a question. I know you do the whole Nostradamus thing, and I know you've like taken a notice to Nostradamus, right?
I have.
How much attention have you paid to the quatrains?
You know, I started actually getting into them recently only because I was doing a decoding thing. I wanted to start. It's funny, you mentioned something before about Christopher Columbus, and I actually think I used the date. You mentioned Christopher Columbus before. He actually signed something, I think, with the Queen at that time, signed on the 17th day of whatever month to go and start doing whatever he was supposed to do. When he was going to Asia Minor to go get spices, it was on the 17th of some month that he signed the paperwork that this was going to happen. I was just covering dates with the 17th that interesting things happened on. And I started to come across some of like the 17th things with him, his quatrains. And I do want to start looking into them more because I do think, honestly, with him, I think he was scrying. I mean, that's what I think he was doing.
The whole American population is sleeping on something right now, right? The government, and it's one of the most noticeable quatrains where he says, when Mavis dies, the undoing of animal and mankind will happen. Mavis, right? This dude, Ray Mavis, was I think a governor of Mississippi, and then became the ambassador to Saudi Arabia, right? He has something called the Mavis Group. If you look at their community statement, their mission statement, it's to facilitate a major coming change so that when the change happens, they will be there to step forward and have the infrastructure already in place, right? Now, if you look at every standard that the World Economic Forum is putting forward, right? A third less fertilizer, a third more efficient harvest, they have a group that is literally working on the infrastructure for that already here in the US, right? And there's one company called Terviva. They grow these beans, right? Now, this bean is 3 times better protein than soy, 3 times more efficient, uses a third less fertilizer. It literally fits into all the notches that the WEF drew out, right? And they're growing this bean all over America. Now, the other thing it can be used to make is biodiesel, right? So they're pumping this thing up. It's the new soy, but nobody knows about it yet, right? And this company, the Mavis Group, is partnered with like 100 and something other companies that all have one small little niche in this infrastructure, right? Like Terviva's growing the beans. Then you have another group that's working on like a mass public transit system through the cell phones, where basically when you need to go to work, you just step outside with your cell phone and somebody that works with you will already be out there waiting for you in a car. You know what I mean? It's crazy the way they're setting this shit up. And it's being done right under everybody's nose, dude. And the Mavis Group, dude, you can look them up online, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. That's interesting.
Right on their mission statement on their freaking front page, dude. All you can read into what their mission statement is basically we are undermining capitalism and setting up the infrastructure to do it. And it's unreal. If you look at some of the companies that they have partnered with, some of the shit that they've got going on, dude. Because like some of it, you look at them and it's like, okay, you are definitely waiting for democracy to fall to the wayside.
Like you're expecting it to happen.
No, not only are they expecting it, they're preparing for it. In other words, if it doesn't happen, they're going to be out a shit ton of money. So think about that, dude. Think about that. Just that one little aspect in itself. These guys have set up hundreds of billions of dollars in infrastructure into the U.S. collapsing. And it's in their mission statement. So what do you think's going to happen with the Mavis Group? M-A-B-U-S. M-A-B-U-S.
Oh, this was even weirder. All right.
Yeah. It's M-A-B-U-S, and it's founded by Ray Mavis. You'll find it in a heartbeat.
This is what he goes.
I mean, I even thought that one was
like,
weird though too, because this site that I was on was basically like an emergency response site. So,
it was probably a stem of the Mavis Group. I guarantee you, if you start looking in, they're tied into them.
Yo, when we covered the the Loyal Order of the Moose. There was like, we started checking addresses and like running them through Bizopedia and seeing if anything else is like linked to them. And like even with them, they were like associated with some like fucking church. Same name from there. Somehow they were connecting to some church. And inside that church, if you like were to start Googling businesses and addresses, the church has an address, and then there's like a 1A that's like considered, I don't know, I guess a room inside the fucking church, where it's a fucking what the fuck was it? It was like a company that it was some like, oh god, it was almost like a War Games fucking company. Was associated with like, it was fucking
running out
bizarre.
of the church.
It was fucking bizarre. It was something Patriot group. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
Dude, look at the bank at Vatican City. I mean, who are the biggest bankers there? Yeah, bring up the Mavis Group, dude. If you could pop that up on the screen, I want to see their mission statement. And like, people have to see this shit because like it's dead in Nostradamus's quatrains. Mavis, M-A-B-U-S, and people are trying to like skew it to George Bush, and that's the one. People are trying to skew it to George Bush and all this other shit.
Yeah, let me just take
it's too small a text for me to read.
Hold on. Let me get rid of that. Maybe this will help. I don't know. It says
their mission statement.
Yeah, we're a strategic advisory firm focused on resiliency. We help companies, organizations, governments, and institutions prepare for, mitigate against, and take advantage of change. Whether the challenges are natural or man-made, we seek to help our clients achieve or maintain leadership in an increasingly dynamic environment.
Ding!
That's such beautiful.
Whether the
marketing
challenges
language.
are natural or man-made. And now think about this. When they have this much money invested into an infrastructure for this, look at their partners, dude. Just roll down that list. It's fucking mind-bending when you look at what some of those companies are doing.
Bloomberg, Atlantic, that's promising.
Cobalt Robotics.
Renewables.
Mitchell Madison Group. There's some that are like surveillance and security.
Cybersecurity per Credo, cybersecurity technology. Yep.
Dude, QNet.
QNet security. Terviva. See the one on the bottom right? There's the bean company.
Yeah.
Oh.
Grows a hardly high-yielding oilseed tree crop called Pongamia, whatever. That produces 10 times the amount of oil and 3 times the amount of protein on a per acre basis than a soybean with a fraction of the inputs.
All to the WEF standards. I'm just saying, and they're set the infrastructure up already in the U.S. So tell me they didn't have a plan to overthrow the U.S. government or at least convert it into a socialist structure looking at all this shit.
It's very interesting, my friend. This is very interesting.
Get further into some of the partners later on when you have a chance to research it a little more.
I'm going to look to see who actually owns this shit.
Dude, New York, I'm telling you, dude, you'll freak the fuck out when you see what some of those companies actually do. They have very innocuous names and really clever looking titles, but when you look at what they're doing, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, like I said,
we're gonna be eating bugs and beans.
It's beautiful marketing language. You know, it's a word salad. It sounds, very.
They're selling you Satan, bro.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're selling you Satan on a silver platter.
Bringing it as a gift to mankind.
I'm trying to look them up now on Wikipedia, but that might
the thing
He's
is,
in Wikipedia, dude. All his stats are in there. He was a governor of one of the southern states, and then he immediately became the ambassador of Saudi Arabia. And it was like, yep, no corruption there.
Whoa,
immediately he becomes like the petroleum czar and all this other shit, dude. Like, come on, man.
Oh, I
Jesus.
gotta show this.
Speaking of climbing the corporate ladder, like dude just jumped up the corporate ladder, man.
Dude, he went from a nobody governor to what the hell?
Right.
I just do want to show this real quick. I think actual serious listeners of the Occult Rejects might understand what they're looking at right here. But I did put them in the Mavis group. I put them in Wikipedia, and they do come up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. 3. Wait, did you mention Matthew E. Mavis or whatever? Did you mention his name?
Ray Mavis is the one that I was talking about.
There's 3 other ones that do have the Corporation Service Company. The Corporation Service Company, CT Corp, and another one we have come across as being the registered agents for a lot of secret societies and companies that tie to secret societies. So in my opinion, just the fact that Corporation Service Company is showing up under their registered agent makes me think there's a reason for that.
The crazy thing, New York, is those companies, dude, those partner groups are so far ingrained into the U.S.'s infrastructure right now, and most people don't even know they're right in their backyards. I can leave my house right now and drive less than 2 miles and run into one of those Tervivas. I can ride another 3 minutes in another direction and hit another one, right? Never knew what they were until I started researching Nostradamus, found the quatrains, started looking up Mavis, found Ray Mavis, and holy shit, did I stumble upon a rabbit hole there.
Yeah, you totally caught my attention with that shit. So I was already
the
looking
money,
at
brother.
Wikipedia. I was like, whoa. Because now the thing is I'm going to find those addresses and I'm going to try to fucking search those and see if there's other companies attached to them. You know?
And I'm telling you, when you get into there, look at some of their partner groups, like other than Terviva, look at some of the other little things that they do. Like this, there's some that deal in like microchipping people in cybersecurity, right? So, and there's like another ones that are like universal app for your phone that basically does everything like WeChat. You know what I mean? They've got some really messed up shit set up in there. You know what I mean? And it's been happening right under everybody's noses. They've invested tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions, into the infrastructure of doing this shit. And think about it. If America doesn't fail, every one of these businesses do. So they have a highly vested interest into making sure that some kind of change happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is PK in the chat right now asked, was the active one registered in DC? It's funny, I probably looked at it and didn't even realize. All right, out of the four, only one of them's actually active, and that one is the Corporation Service Company, but it's in Washington, D.C. I didn't even realize that. So that's even a little bit more interesting. That now it's address location.
You want to hear even worse? I'm 99% sure Mavis is also a Freemason. So I'm just saying there's another notch in it.
That's honestly, whenever we covered Freemasonic inner orders, that is when we started coming across CT Corp and Corporation Service Company. So, I mean, honestly, it kind of makes sense to me. Which is weird.
Yeah.
One hand scratches the other until pretty soon those hands are the entire effing government.
Yeah, dude, those were the shows that really got me into the Occult Rejects. The inner orders of the Freemasons, like. Oh, that's just crazy.
The Jesters, the Shriners.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Order of the Moose. Yeah,
like when I say
tight of weird shit.
When I say Joe Biden is not the leader of the free world, he is literally just a meat puppet. A lot of people laugh, but they have no idea who's actually running the show. You know what I mean? I don't think we have a slightly better concept of it, but I don't think we know who's running the show either.
Oh, I agree with that.
Nah. So best thing you can do is, get out of the cities.
That's why I came up with the term Shadow Crown, because we'll never really know who's wearing it.
Oh yeah, Shadow Crown, the original story you're writing for the tribe.
That's even like people will be like, "Oh well, Soros is," it's like he's still another fucking puppet in my opinion. Like
he's a fish. He's just a little fish. Listen, look at the what was it called? The Tower of Maximilian. The family tree of like the royals and shit, and at the very top of the family tree you have two pipers playing down that are like pans. They look like the half goat half man thing.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And satyrs with a pan flute. They're like playing down to the Maximilians, and like then Piper. Above them is two dragons looking down at them, right? And then if you look even closer, above the dragons is just a triangle. So what is really at the top of this thing? You know what I mean? I don't think we'll ever really know.
I agree with that. You nailed that for sure.
I think the way the system's set up is even if we get close enough to find out, certain defenses are tripped and we'll never know. You know what I mean? Basically, you get thrown onto QAnon goose chases if you try to find the real information.
I get what you're saying. Not even saying it's a QAnon stuff, but like, you will get stuck in that.
You'll start looking for legitimate shit, and the internet searches will steer you into QAnon bullshit.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. And I've even said that myself before, unfortunately. And actually, if you guys don't mind, maybe we'll wrap it up here because I think that was pretty good way to wrap it up. Even with like QAnon and what you were saying with that, I do think like even with that they did throw in some truth, but unfortunately, shit all over it. That you will take things that they are actually showing you and saying, but believing it the wrong way. Even just
exactly.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff in there.
putting a lot of real truth in with really obscure details that are you know what I mean, and then it unvalidates the entire story. And that's how they were able to wipe away a lot of this shit as conspiracy. They would disclaim part of it. Like, here's a perfect example. The whole Joe Biden being mentored by Robert Byrd, who was a Grand Cyclops, an exalted Cyclops in the Klan, right? Somebody wrote an article saying Joe Biden was mentored by the Grand Wizard of the KKK. They bounced it offline by saying he was not mentored by the Grand Wizard of the KKK. You're correct. It was just a very high-ranking member, it wasn't the Grand Wizard.
Yeah.
He was an exalted Cyclops. But because they ran the article that way, they were able to run the whole thing off as conspiracy. And then anytime somebody posted about it, they would get that fact check, and it would pop up that Robert Byrd was not the Grand Wizard article, right? But you could look all over online and find out that Robert Byrd was a ranking member in the Klan from the 1940s up into the 70s when he was a senator. One of the longest reigning senators in U.S. history. Actually, I think he was the longest ranking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was Joe Biden's mentor. Now, the funny thing is, Robert Byrd had an anonymous apprentice. Joe Biden was mentored by Robert Byrd. Robert Byrd had an anonymous apprentice. Joe Biden was mentored by Robert Byrd. I'm not putting anything together here. I'm just saying.
Conspiracy is just a coincidence.
Would he be related to
that his anonymous apprentice might have been just presidentially nominated?
Like, would he be related to who was it again? Admiral Byrd from Operation High Jump, who supposedly found a way to the inner Earth through the South Pole?
Antarctica, BYRD, not is it BIR or BYRD?
BYRD, Admiral Byrd, BYRD.
That's Byrd's family, yes. And yes, they're tied into the Trumps that are tied into the whole taking of Tesla files and locked into the whole discoveries in the 1960s in South America and the Antarctic. And yeah, it's all one big.
So in short, trust the gods.
Grow your own food. You don't know what they're putting in your shit, period.
That too. Just conservative living, traditional living, grow your own foods, get out of the cities, go into the country. They're going to hit the cities first.
When you start looking at how they
history.
When you start looking at how they structure the cities, okay? Think about this. The highest populous areas are all of the ones that you're not allowed to own guns in. Okay.
Why would
when they come hit the densest populations at one time, they will not be able to fight back. All they have to do is cut the water off and block the bridges. Everybody's fucked.
Yeah, that's why I want to go for Long Island, because I don't even like the fact that I need to take a bridge or a tunnel to get the fuck out of here if there was a problem. I don't like that at all.
I mean, just think about that one little aspect, dude. If anything is, let's say shit ever did hit the fan in even a minor way, the first thing that happens is those bridges are blocked.
Yeah, and like here,
you're up shit creek once that happens.
I mean, here in the Netherlands, we're especially gonna be fucked. I mean, Jesus, come to think of it, here in my hometown, if they pull up or just block the bridges, I'm thinking like really close to where I live, there is actually a bridge, and if you just follow that the whole way, you'll or the whole road, you'll eventually come on the freeway. A lot of bridges. Man, why do I have to be surrounded by all that water?
New York, Los Angeles, New Orleans, a lot of the areas around the Great Lakes. Miami-Dade County is underwater. It's literally a lot of it is under sea level. All right. All they got to do is knock a couple levees out of place, and they flood everybody out.
Dude, that's more than half my country. The Netherlands is, I believe, more than 50% is below sea level. If those dikes break, dude, it's 1953 with Zealand all over again.
If they hit just the New York area, not even the New York area, let's say New England with one of those what they call Satan bombs, the ones that have 8 warheads in them that are 1,000 megatons each, right?
Oh,
let's just say one of those hits the East Coast, one of those hits the West Coast. 2/3 of the U.S. population is gone.
Because of the cities, yeah.
They're all right there on the coastlines. So, I mean, when we look at how the U.S. is structured, and just about every nation on Earth, for that matter, being right on the coastlines, the safest way to live your life is get out of the city. Because if they ever do get squirrely, that's it.
There's plenty of land in the United States that is open for people to take, and it's just sitting there.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
I mean,
you don't have to be duped. You don't have to be duped into a shoebox apartment for $3,000 a month in New York. You know, you can leave.
Yeah.
Hey, think about this. For what you pay a month for rent in New York, you can buy an entire acre you could buy an acre every month in Virginia or Tennessee for that matter. $3,000 an acre. For what you're paying for rent every month, you could buy another acre of land.
Yeah.
It's
There's a
crazy.
kid I was talking to recently. I was on his show, and he was telling me that I can't remember. It might be Texas, but I think he said he was like starting to buy a property. He said it's literally only a couple of thousand an acre, and he says he's just slowly buying the property, and he's gonna move.
Think about this. The U.S. dollar has collapsed. There's no doubt about it, dude. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. You can tap dance around the issue. It's happening, and there's nothing that can be done about it at this point. It's in a free fall, right? When it finally does pop and that bubble bursts, right? Land is going to be the only thing that is valuable. Houses, land, and automobiles, tangible property, right? Because what we know is fiat currency will all of a sudden become shit. You know what I mean? What do you do when it takes $1 million to buy a can of green beans?
I mean, dude, that's World War II Germany all over again. You know, like 10,000, 100,000, German marks to, buy a pack of butter. Or like Zimbabwe, where they literally had, like, what was it, like 100 million notes?
Have you seen the People's Gardens Project?
No.
The WEF is funding this new thing called the People's Garden Project. They want everybody to register their backyard gardens, and they're using Google Maps to do it for you if you don't.
Sure.
You got no shit, dude. You got a chicken coop and more than a couple fruit trees in your backyard. You are registered as having a garden, and that can be considered a source of income or B source of independence. You know what I mean? And either way, that irks their nerves because you trading oranges for your neighbor's chicken eggs doesn't give them any tax money.
Trade and barter. That's
all it's about. We didn't get our cut.
That's literally what it's becoming all about. Look at one of the WEF's last big agenda meetings, the economics of water. Think about that, dude. Right after they have that meeting, Lake Mead starts drying up. Mysteriously, the flow from all of these different water sources is becoming less and less and less, but they have control of the locks. I don't think it's a big fucking mystery where it's going. I'm just saying the economic of water, when they can charge you to drink the one thing you need as much as oxygen, they've got their thumb on you, dude.
I remember at one point I'd seen something, I don't know if it was like a conspiracy theory thing or the news or something, but at one point I think they were even showing, this is a long time ago, I guess maybe because our gas was so low, but at one point I think bottled water, actually they were like, this is actually more expensive than gas now. They're like, how the fuck did that happen?
Wow.
At the end of Trump's presidency, this is no joke. At the end of Trump's presidency, there was a point where we had so much fuel in reserve that they were paying people to take it away. There was a negative commodity price on fuel. In other words, they were paying people to haul it off.
Wow.
Yes.
And those people
you could
are
buy
wringing
fuel
their hands
commodity.
now.
You could buy raw petro and pick it up, and they paid you to come get it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think trade and barter, it's becoming a thing already because fiat currency is it's
collapsing.
And collapsing hard. I mean, here in Europe, like we have the euro, of course, which is still kind of strong-ish.
It trips me out to go to a local farmer, Stijn. You go to a local farmer around here to buy meat, and they accept Shiba Inu coin. I'm just saying, dude. Like,
for real,
nobody wants to pay taxes anymore.
Yeah, no, but like that's the thing we should all be doing, trade and barter. If you have some digital currency, I mean, I don't know how much I trust, anything that is digital, because if it's digital, even if it's anonymous and coded and whatever, it can still be taken away from you. Like if the power goes out, you can have 100 Bitcoin. If the power goes out, your Bitcoin are fucking useless.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but
I've even
they
said
can-
myself, not that it
oh.
makes a difference that a bank actually has a business you can go and bitch to. But, like, if your Bitcoin just disappears, where am I going? I can't go drive down to the Bank of America and start flipping the
Hey,
fuck out.
I just want to paint the same picture for you guys. If the Bitcoin does it, then the fiat does it too. It's all electronic now. So when Bitcoin goes, everything else goes with it. And Bitcoin is so decentralized that it's probably the safest form of currency right now, most stable, anyways.
Yeah.
Look what's going on with the wars. U.S. currency, China currency, the ruble, it's all fluctuating right now. The most stable thing out there has been Bitcoin and gold.
Well, then I'm a opt in for gold. It's I mean it's hella expensive. Like it's like $30,000 a gram. But I mean, you know, precious. Well, it's too much anyway. But like I do think that is also because a lot of people are buying in because, you know, precious metals, they see all the fiat currency, they see it dropping. So like what is indeed the one thing that for thousands of years has always been stable, has always been a means of acquiring goods, precious metals, you know, gold, silver, platinum for that matter, if you have a bit more to spend.
Yeah, I think we're coming to the end of a phase in America where it's going to split, and we're going to see the rise of what's called the American Empire. I think we're going to end the Republic of America, and the American Empire is going to start when this next turning of the president happens. I think it's going to be the hardest swing of the pendulum we've ever seen, dude.
I've been saying that. Recently. And I even think, and then we do have to wrap it up, unfortunately, now. But, you know, because this could go into a whole other thing. But I do think, and I've been saying for a while, I think the pendulum's swinging the other way. And that's even why we're going, I think, from Scarlet Horse symbolism more to the beast. And I do think that's why you got people like Kanye and other people bringing up Nazis again, because the symbolism they used then was a lot more to the right side, and I think more of the beast. So I think we're seeing the pendulum swing for sure. You know, I mean, even with the Nazis in Ukraine, I mean, it's just, you know, war, destruction. So I just think there's a lot of symbolism of the pendulum swinging in many ways right now.
I mean, here in Europe too, you know, I believe in like the first couple of countries were Sweden and Italy, and I believe France isn't far behind, where the pendulum is swinging to the right again. Or has swung to the right. So I mean,
should be interesting.
Pendulum will always be swinging.
You guys want to plug your stuff real quick again before we end this?
Yeah, sure. Josh, you go first.
Find me in the Tribe of the Greyhorn Pagans. I'm on Minds. I run my mouth on Twitter, Child of Ash 420 everywhere. The only place I'm not Child of Ash 420 is on Rumble, but that's in my link tree. So it's all down there, man.
Gotcha. I may not have your Twitter in there, but I will add it after the show.
I think it's in my link tree if I'm not mistaken.
All right. That works.
Either way.
Sounds good.
And they kept bitching to me that I need to update my link tree. Mine is updated, okay? Yeah, no, StijnFawkes, you can find me on Twitter, on Minds, on Telegram, or under StijnFawkes. I am the Jarl of the Tribe of the Greyhorn Pagans. We are active on Telegram and on Minds, host of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. I did a couple really good episodes with Josh, with Child of Ash, the one that has actually been best listened to on the podcasting platforms, the audio platforms. Nice. I believe two or three of the ones that score the highest are with Josh. So as you have seen, we can have amazing conversation. He goes down a rabbit hole. So
this was fun. We'll definitely have to do it again someday.
Oh, for sure. Like if you want to just hear just me and Josh go down like so many different rabbit holes, from giants to little people to Atlantis to whatever.
Go listen to the Ragnarok episodes. You want to hear an amalgamation of all of it, go listen to the Ragnarok episodes. We've got a couple of those out there, and they're great discussions on Norse paganism.
I'm really proud of our little series we did on Ragnarok. Indeed, you can find it on my personal YouTube at StijnFawkes, Odyssey, Rumble, either StijnFawkes or Greyhorn Pagans. All of the bigger podcasting platforms, Greyhorn Pagans podcast. Go check us out. Go have a listen. If you like this, you're gonna like that as well.
Yeah, in those episodes and the Ragnarok ones, you'll meet some people in our tribe that aren't so Norse pagan.
Well,
Yeah,
it's even
that
better.
too.
So it's, yeah, okay. Yeah, actually, if you want to throw me some of those links, I'll just throw them in the description too. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you don't mind, I'll just put those in the description. So if he sent them to me in the future, you will see that these episodes are linked in the bottom as well. Go check them out. Thank you both very much for coming on. I had a blast. It was nice that Lee was able to jump in for a little bit. His show notes are in the bottom as well if people want to go check out his show. Thank you, everybody who jumped in on the chat. That's why I go live. I had a good time. Thank you, Helen and Eric, Teresa, Lisa, all you, Thresh, everybody for jumping in and asking questions. That's what's up. Maybe next time when I put out the live call, somebody will get the balls or the guts to actually call in. Don't worry. The phone's not going to bite. So
right?
Maybe the next time I do a live call, somebody will call in. One day I'll have to have like Teresa call in just to break the ice. Fucking co-host.
Hey, if you put a FaceTime link up there, it probably would have been jumped on.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah. So thank you both for coming on. I had a good time. We're definitely going to do this again, for real. It's a good round table, and it kind of actually hits on topics. It's not just bullshitting, so I appreciate roundtables like that. So thank you both very much again, and until the next one, everybody be well. Later.